All right, so I'm going to multiply 36 by 10 and 45 by C. I get 360 equals 45C, because 36 times 10 is 360, and 45 times C just gives me 45C. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 45. These ones cancel, and I'm left with C. And then if you plug 360 divided by 45 into your calculator, what do you get? Tell me in the chat. 8, yes. So my answer is 8. All right. So today we're going to do lesson 4.6 and assignment 4.6. Lesson 4.6 is on percentages. So it's going to be like finding 30% of this number, or 8% sales tax, like that kind of stuff. We will be using this a lot the rest of the semester as well. So it's important you pay attention and really practice today on the assignment or problems to understand. So next one, there we go. On your calculator, you can type in any number and use the percent key to have it converted to a decimal. So on my phone, I'm going to type in 50, just the number 50 like this. And then next to the division sign, there's a percent symbol. Whoa, I almost dropped my phone. And I'm going to touch that, and it automatically converts my percent to a decimal for me. So 50% as a decimal is 0.5. We also, if you have a calculator that doesn't have that function, we learned how to do this in level 3, I believe, where we move the decimal 2 places. So say I have 80, I move that 2 places, it's 0.8. So you're going to have to be able to do that to solve today's problems. So here's the first example. Employees at the clothing store get 30% off any purchases they make. If an employee buys an item costing $25, how much would they pay? So they get a discount of 30%, off any purchase. If they want to buy an item that's $25, how much would they pay with their discount? So I'm going to take 30% and first convert it to a decimal. So move my decimal 2 places or plug it into my calculator. I get 0.3. So step 1, convert the percent to a decimal. Step 2, multiply my decimal by my number with the dollar sign in front of it, 25. Then plug that into my calculator, and I get 7.5. I don't know that off the top of my head. I've just done this problem with other classes. I am not that good at multiplication. Okay. So first step, convert my percent to a decimal. Second step, multiply my decimal by my number with the dollar sign. Okay? Step 3 is where it'll vary. You're either going to add or subtract. It just depends on the problem. So right here it says they get 30% off. So less off discount. So that means I'm going to subtract. But in the next problem, it says a 8% sales tax is added. So if money is added to something, it's going to be plus. For this problem, we're going to subtract. So I'm going to take 25, my big number, and subtract my answer from number 2. Step 2, I mean. And then I have 25 minus 7.5, which gives me 1750. Remember, we're dealing with money, so 2 decimal places for my final answer. So step 1 is just the percentage as a decimal. Step 2, the answer for that tells me what 30% of 25 is. 30% of 25 is 7.5. Step 3 tells me how much this employee is going to pay after 30% discount. Any questions? I'm going to do a couple more examples, but any questions on this one first? Okay. Example 2. You purchase an item that costs $119.95 before an 8% sales tax. Find the cost after tax is added. So this is like up in Tri-Cities, there's sales tax. You go, you see something that's like, oh, $49, sweet. You go up and you hand them a $50 bill and they're like, oh, actually it's gonna be $52. We have sales tax. And you're like, ah, dang it, that's why I love living in Oregon. So this is kind of a problem like that. So you see an item that's $119.95 before tax. How much are you going to pay once the tax is added? So first step is to convert my percent to a decimal. Can someone tell me in the chat what 8% would be as a decimal? Close. 0.8 is 80%. Good job, Leslie. We get 0.08 because remember, we're always going to move that decimal 2 places. Right now, it's behind the 8, so 1, 2. So I fill in my gaps with a 0. Okay. Excuse me. Step 2 is to take my decimal and multiply it by my big number with the dollar sign in front of it. So I plug this into my calculator. And I get 9.596. So once again, I'm working with money. So I round to 2 decimal places. So 9 is in my second decimal place. I look to my neighbor and I see that it's a 6. That's bigger than 5. So it tells me I need to add 1. So that leaves me with 9.6. Okay. So what I did was I took my percent, converted it to a decimal, multiplied my decimal by my number with the dollar sign, then I rounded here. So I'm dealing with money. I need to always have 2 decimal places. So 9.596 rounds up to 9.60. Step 3, am I going to add or subtract? Someone tell me in the chat if I'm going to add or subtract. Remember, sales tax is added. So what am I going to do? Add, yes. I'm going to add 9.6 to 119. And I get 129.55, and that's already 2 decimal places, so that's perfect. So my final answer, after an 8% sales tax is added to $119.95, it's $129.55. Okay? Any questions on this example before I do one more before I give you the homework? Okay. Joe receives a salary of $2,240 per month. If 18% is deducted for income tax and 6% is deducted for savings, what is his total deduction? So before any money is taken out of his paycheck, he gets $2,240. But unfortunately, in the real world, money is taken out of our paycheck for income tax, federal tax, savings, all sorts of things. So we're going to try and find out how much is taken out of his paycheck because of these different things. So my first step is going to be adding my percentages together. So if I don't add them together, I have to convert each to a decimal first and then multiply it by 2,240 for 18. And then I have to do the same thing for 6. I'm going to combine them to get rid of that step. So I only have to do it once. So 18 plus 6 is 18% plus 6%. I add them just like normal. but just add the percent sign at the end. So 18 plus 6 gives me 24. Now I'm going to convert that to a decimal, and it becomes 0.24. Now I'm going to multiply this number, my decimal, by my number with the dollar sign. So in my calculator, 2.24 times 2240 gives me $537.60. So the question is asking, what is the total deduction? So how much money is taken out of his paycheck? This is my answer right here, because 24% of 2,240 is 537.60. So some problems today for your homework, you won't have to do the final step of adding or subtracting. It just wants to know the answer to step 2. So step 1 is converting to a decimal. Step 2 is multiplying. So you just kind of have to read and figure it out. So for your homework, if there's ever a time where there's multiple money amounts or multiple percents, always add up the similar ones. So add up your money first, or add up your percentages if you have more than one of each. Okay? Any questions on finding percentages? Okay, I'm going to assign the homework. It's 5 problems, and you have 15 minutes, so you should be able to get it done today. If not, it's homework that will be due next Monday at midnight. And if you refresh your Google Classroom, it should be there now. I'm going to give you guys like 3 minutes to do number 1, and then I will go over it.